Welcome back. Another episode of Straight Facts. I'm joined by Lee, the golden child Gunner. It looks very wonderful where you are, my friend.
It is 28 degrees today, Tel. What do you want? Sun, sand, cerveza. We're all good, mate. We're all good.
You look like you're in the mud. You look like you're really struggling in life.
Oh, mate, yes. Mate, I don't know, mate. Maybe that's why my skin looks so soft and smooth. And no, I'm about 3 weeks away from turning 40, and my skin, mate, vitamin D.
That's good. I take tablets of vitamin D. I take tablets. And no sun here. That's more to help my hair grow as well. It's good for the hair growth, for the hairline coming back. But lots to talk about today. Obviously, there was this very infamous voice note I received the other day.
Oh, you see you, Terry, yeah? You joker. I'm coming for you Tuesday about Arteta needs respect, yeah? More respect for what? Respect for what? You're a joker. I swear. I'm coming for you Tuesday, yeah? Make sure you're ready.
So that was from you. So we're going to talk about that and me giving too much respect, in your opinion, to Arteta, or thinking he deserves respect. We're going to talk North London derby. We've got to. It's a big week for both clubs, or not in everybody's opinion. We are going to talk Chelsea on this show as well, people. So stay with us, because I think Chelsea were starting to fail by their standards under Roman Abramovich, where Lee looks at them as arguably one of the best run clubs of the last 20 years. We're going to kind of go into that and have a bit of a chat. Do us a favor, first of all, though, and smash the like button right now. Get that hit. I know there's a lot of the rat army in here as well. I've seen a number of rat emojis as well. So make sure the rats
being the rats are in the mud.
I've heard that. And so I wonder, like, what was your issue then? So what was your issue with me in my title of my video saying that Arteta deserves more respect? What was your issue with that?
For beating 10-man Leeds United and nearly conceding an equaliser in stoppage time. What are you talking about? Deserves respect for what? He's lost 11 games this season. We've conceded more goals than last season. Yeah. And we're going to come to North London derby, so I'm going to zip it about that for a minute. Yeah. Right. But deserves respect for what? The guy took us so far backwards that now this is seen as some major achievement if we get Champions League football. How's that respect? Have you seen the state of our squad, Terry? 250 mil he has spent. Yeah, and that is the state of our squad. We're now about to offer, well, we have offered El Neni a new contract. Why? Eddie Nketiah is being offered a new contract. Why? It's like, I'm sorry, mate. Yeah, big up to my boy Turkish as well, because he said a few years back, it's a roundabout. Just keep going round and round and round and round and round. Yeah, this is the same level deemed not good enough under Wenger. Hence why I was one of many protesting to get him gone, because top four ain't a trophy. I don't care what people tell me or tell you or tell everyone else. Top four is not a trophy. All I've heard is people saying, yeah, but you can attract the best talent if you're in Champions League. Oh, really? What? So no other club is going to attract top talent then? Yeah, so Arsenal are the only club that are going to be able to attract top talent then. Because we've just seen Erling Haaland, who we're going to speak about, signing for Man City. Well, he fits Project Youth perfectly, doesn't he? He's 21. He's an elite talent. He's a world-class player. Yeah. And he's 67 million quid. So why wait? We're in the Champions League spots as it stands, Terry. Yeah. If we lose on Thursday, let's say we lose, we're still in the Champions League spot by 1 point with 2 games to go. It's still in our hands. Yeah. So we can afford to lose and still qualify for Champions League and still be able to attract the Erling Haalands of this world, right?
Well, look, I think listen, there's a few things in there that we'll get to. For me, it's a case of this, where I think he deserves. You often misconstrued what I say. I don't think he deserves to be spoken about as a great manager yet. I don't think top four is I mean, I don't get on very well with the overtly positive Gooners either, because I feel like they should be happy they've made the Champions League and happy with the elements of progression this year, but they should still maintain. So I agree with you in this point, these high standards that they've got to get themselves back to. They have to look to progress even further next year and go to that next level. And they need to support Arsenal more than Arteta. But where I look at him as an individual, two things I'd say. Firstly, you were 2-0 up against Leeds when they had 11 men on the pitch. You were cruising. And it is often harder to play against 10 men. Teams are really resolute, hard to break down. And yes, you conceded that goal. And again, with more clinical strikers up front, you probably would have been 3 or 4 goals ahead. And that's an area that the club needs to address in the summer to make you better. But where I think Arteta does deserve respect is he has... As far as he's concerned, this is a new project. You know, they're building young players. They've moved players out. I think the young squad that he's got has done well this year. And they've seized an opportunity created by some other teams not quite being where people predicted them and where they should be. And I sort of feel like even after losing those 4 games in 5 matches, a lot of Gunners, even that support him, kind of felt the season might peter out from this point. And he was able to galvanize this young squad, bring them together. And yeah, he conceded a few goals in those games, but you beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which was good going. You beat Man United, and yeah, United, you know, maybe a bit of luck. Bruno missing a penalty or whatever else. If Ronaldo takes it, it could have been different, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And then good results against West Ham and Leeds. 4 wins on the bounce again. And you've almost secured yourself that Champions League spot. And like we said on a number of shows, I sort of feel like I'm not, as a football fan who calls football matches and talks football and does it as a job, I'm not going to suddenly sit here and say, listen, there's no more criticism allowed at Mikel Arteta or Arsenal because they've made top 4. This isn't the same as winning a Champions League or winning a Premier League, but I do feel like he deserves a bit more respect. You know, Gary Neville saying things like getting top 4 is the best he's ever going to do. Will never achieve any more than that at the football club. Right. But he's already achieved more than that by winning an FA Cup along the way. I feel like he just deserves a little bit more.
Wenger, the top 4 trophies bigger than the FA Cup.
Yeah, but I don't care what Wenger said. Like,
no, but Arsenal fans do. Hence why top 4 is such a big thing.
But you don't, because you say winning trophies is the most.
Yeah, but I want to win major honours. Yeah, FA Cup to me is a major honour. Yeah, so well done to Arteta. There's somebody in the chat who says Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, he took Unai Emery's squad in 6 months and won the FA Cup with it. Yeah, so what are you talking about? Yeah, he actually proved he could go and take a squad that, according to the majority, was rubbish. Yeah, it was poisonous. Yeah, there was some dead wood in there, and he went and won the FA Cup. So what's changed since?
I understand that point. There's a comment here that says, oh my God, Terry, my guy, it's still not enough for the Arsenal standard. And I agree. And this is where I just feel like my view on Arsenal is right over yours in the sense of, I agree with large parts of yours, Lee. Where you want to get back to is where the standard's got to be set. And like Igal wrote something on a comment on one of our videos last night saying, you guys always laugh at Arsenal, but I've got the last laugh. And I'm like, see, this is the attitude I don't like, because there is no laugh. This isn't the end of football at the end of May. Like, the next season comes back and you've got to go again to that next level. There's this weird thing about people being right. I predicted top 4, therefore my opinion is superior, or Arsenal are clear of Man United forever. I'm sort of like, you being clear of Man United for one season or forever, that isn't the top of the mountain. It should be business time, let's focus. And the one thing I would say that I'm concerned about for Arsenal fans is that in this happiness that some of them are feeling, in this ecstasy some of them are going through, they are going to take their eye off the prize and almost become a bit too relaxed with the way the club's being run. And that's when things will go wrong. So I feel like there is this balance of praise Mikel Arteta and Arsenal for the improvements that they've shown this year to bounce back from those bad results. But equally, your attitude towards keeping your foot on their neck to raise those standards even higher, to go to the next level. I just think that's the balance that's kind of needed here.
I'll give you an example, Terry, right? 2018-19 season, yeah? We finished 1 point behind Tottenham. We finished on 70 points. Yeah, and we won 21 games, drew 7, lost 10. Scored 73 goals, conceded 51, yeah? That was under Unai Emery, yeah? Right? So 73 goals scored, 51 conceded, lost 10, won 21, yeah? Fast forward now, £250 million later, right? We're on 21 wins. We've lost more games. We've we've scored 17 goals less, and we've conceded 9 goals less. Where's the improvement? Because it's there or thereabouts the same. The only difference that is improved is we've gone up 1 league position.
Well, you got more points than this time last year, haven't you? And was it 11, 12?
Hold on. The Premier League table, as it stands right now, we're currently on 66 points, yeah? 18-19 season.
No, but what about
finished on 71. 70. So we're 4 points. Hang on, we're 4 points worse off, but that was after 3 more games. Yeah. So let's say he wins all 3. Yeah, we end up with 5 points more. So we've sacked a manager that was deemed not good enough. Yeah, even I wanted him out. Yeah, everyone knows that. I wanted him out until this guy was coming. I said, bring him back. Right. And since we ain't brought him back, he's then gone to a Champions League semi after winning the Europa League. What do I know? But there we go. So we are currently 4 points worse off now than under Unai Emery's first full season. This guy is in his second full season, right? Spent 250 million quid total. And we are 4 points with 3 games to go, worse off. So let's say we win all 3 of these games, yeah? That's 9 points. We're 5 points better off and 1 position in the table better off.
But how much better off? How much better off are you than last year? So this is the point. You've improved.
No. Wait. Don't even try it with last year. That guy took us so far backwards last year that this year is deemed, even if we finish 6th, all of these fans would have jumped for joy. Yeah, £250 million, and this guy has got no expectations to deliver anything. They've given him a new contract because it was mathematically impossible to finish lower than 6th. At the start of the season, if you remember rightly, Josh Conklin sat there, Edu sat there, and Arteta sat there, and not one of them gave a target for the season. Right, not one of them. Now they offer a new contract. He signs the new contract. It's not his fault he got offered a new contract. The club offered it. It's not him. If somebody offered me 8 million quid a year to manage the club, I'm taking it. Yeah, he's probably on 10 million now, right? But either way, he's been offered a contract, he signed it, right? But he signed the new contract because it was mathematically impossible to finish outside the Europa League. So if you go back to them 3 at the start of the season, not giving a target, saying they just want to see the team play together, we're going step by step, game by game. It's a young squad. That's all I hear. Yeah, it's a young squad by design. Yeah, by design. It's not like he's gone into a team that's in administration, a club that's in administration. He's had to get rid of all of his best players and use all the kids coming through. It's not like that. They have chosen to go with a young squad. They've also chosen to get rid of players out of the squad, like Guendouzi, like Saliba, like Aubameyang, and not replace them. Right? Maitland-Niles could have done a job, but now he's in the Conference League final. He could have done a job, and people laugh at that. The last time he played a game for Arsenal, he was man of the match against Watford. Ain't been seen since. People get on Nicola Pepe's case. Yeah, since he came off the bench and scored and won us the game against Wolves, he's played 117 minutes over 7 games. Yeah, people want to tell me he's had a chance. Wait. Right. So when they say it's a young squad, we could potentially maximum finish 5 points better off than we did under Unai Emery. This is his second full season. That was Emery's first full season. He was coming in after a manager who had been here 2 decades and more. Yeah, with a lot of crap in this squad. He also brought a few crap players as well. Let's not forget that, Unai. Right, but Project Youth, yeah, is basically Saka and Smith Rowe and Martinelli. Yeah, right. He's brought in Odegaard. Well, sorry, Dan James has done better than him this season statistically.
You think Odegaard's Dan James had a better season than Odegaard?
Well, this lot go off of stats, so let's use the stats then, shall we? Because Dan James had more goal contributions than him this season, or assists this season. Yeah, he's had more big creative chances than him this season. Kyle Walker-Peters has as well, by the way. Yeah, but this was the creative spark we were missing at Arsenal. How comes he's only got 6 goals then? How comes Kulusevski's coming in January, didn't play a game until 19th of February and had a better output than him in a worse team, apparently?
But what do you think, though? Because you don't go by stats, you go by eye test. You wouldn't say
I go by eye test. Martin Odegaard is useless. Not good enough for Arsenal. Real Madrid, name me 10 players in the last 20 years that Real Madrid have let go that have gone on to bigger and better things. You can't.
Not
Real
very
Madrid don't get it wrong often, mate.
I understand that, but you think Odegaard's been worse than Dan James for you?
No, I'm saying statistically, because our fans love stats. They love XG, they love XP, they love X this. Yeah, how about XB, X bullshit? Like, how about that?
He has not been bad for you, especially the second half of the season. Did I say he has been bad?
What
are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, and he is.
Oh, okay, hang on. I didn't say he was bad. I said he was dog shit. So I wasn't harsh enough, is what you're saying.
No, sorry, I'll give an example, right? I'll give you an example, right? Arsenal fans love a number 10 that don't score goals. Yeah, they love him as Ozil. The guy never really done anything. Oh, but he's got nice passes. Oh, he gets an assist. Martin Odegaard this season, right? I wanted Maddison. Yeah, and people were cussing me at the start of the season because Maddison went about 10 games without getting a goal, right? Now go and have a look at Maddison this season. Go and have a look at the goals he's scored. Go and have a look how many times he's run a game. Yeah, I don't care that Leicester are down the table. That player is specifically yeah, compared to Martin Odegaard. One was 70 mil, one was 30 mil. We chose to go for the 30 mil option, right? James Maddison will score more goals from midfield. He will create more from midfield and is a better all-round footballer than Martin Odegaard, right? But because Martin Odegaard is a nice, good-looking boy, he's got a nice smile, and he's friends with Erling Haaland. Oh, well, by the way, what happened with that one? Because I thought he was getting Erling Haaland to Arsenal.
Come on, Lee.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
So what I'm hearing here is what you're essentially saying is it's not about how good a player looks; it's about what they deliver, essentially. And he ain't delivering.
For Arsenal fans, it's all about looks.
See, but
I'll give you another example, right? Because
what do you think?
Holding is a better defender than Ben White.
What?
What do you mean, what?
We're going to move on to that in a minute, though. I want to say this, but a few weeks ago on here, you were telling, like, you were talking about someone like Bruno Fernandes not being a good number 10 because it doesn't matter how many he scores, how many assists, or how much he creates.
Yeah, the stats only back up the eye test. Bruno Fernandes is useless. The guy can't pass. Yeah, like he can't pass and move. Yeah, he has the glory goal. Yeah, the nice little assist here and there. Yeah, he is not a great footballer.
So what you actually want is them to look like Odegaard but deliver the outputs of a Bruno.
No, I just want winners at my football club that are going to win me a title because that's why
but individually, for you
last
to be
season, Bruno Fernandes scored 29 goals, right? Or 28 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was getting gassed that he's like the best. He's up there. He's better than De Bruyne. He's better than this. He's better than that. Yeah. Okay, cool. He had 43% pass accuracy in one half of football the other week. 43%. Why can you not pass the ball?
But that isn't really the point I'm getting at. Like I'm trying to ascertain like this element of. So you want them to like look and play like an Odegaard, but deliver like a Bruno. If you had 11 players doing that,
I don't care about their looks, Terry. Yeah. In fact, if anything, I just want a bunch of ugly bastards.
But how someone looks is important. Bruno looks bad because he does give away those sloppy passes.
No. I meant looks as in looks.
Oh, physically look. No, I'm not worried about how they look physically, bruv. I love Wayne Rooney. Yeah, I mean, I love those players, and he weren't much of a.
And that's what I'm saying, Terry. Right? Okay, our fans gas up people. We have to have a pretty team. You'd have to be pretty. Everyone has to have nice tats, pretty face. Yeah, we have to have a dream of. Oh my God, Martin Odegaard. Yes, the creative spark. That's all I've heard. When Martin Odegaard signed for Arsenal officially as a full-time player for Arsenal, not on loan. Yeah, there was an article that did the rounds. Which is the first time I ever stumbled across the metric XT, expected threat. What does that even mean?
God, yeah? Who made that up?
Well, they made it up to make out that Martin Odegaard had a better expected threat than Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, and this is my point with it. When you actually watch, like, stats can be deceiving in any way, shape, or form. The fact and reality is, stats can also back up an eye test for good or for bad. Yeah. So, for example, when I watch Bruno, I just think he's lazy. I don't see him ever pressing. He's not that great, but his stats were putting him above the level I think he is in terms of output. Yeah. Right. Which is cool. But that has a short time span because eventually you go to the level the eye test is telling you, which is he's done this season. Right. Martin Odegaard.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard came in as this creative spark based on what? He played 11 times for Real Madrid.
I understand where you're coming from. I get your
more
point.
On loan last season than he did for Madrid ever.
I get your point. We know me and you disagree on Bruno Fernandes, and you'll see him back to his best next year with Eric. But that's another conversation for another day. I think on Odegaard, I understand the need for more goals, more assists. And I think all of your attackers need to add more of that to their games. But in terms of the flow and the play and the style of your football, as he's got better, Arsenal have looked better. I think what you need more of is some older, more experienced players or some additional killers in your team. Because
so to go away from Project Youth, then you mean?
Well, Project Youth is a base, and I would say this: if you look at the great academy players that came through at Man United class of '92, you had I can't remember what their academy calls. Is it La Decima or something? Barcelona when they had
Messiah.
Yeah, when they had Messi come through and Busquets and that crop of youngsters.
Yeah, but we're talking like once in a blue moon.
No, I understand that, but the point is, I'm not comparing your youth players to the class of '92 or Messi's era. What I'm stating is that both those young groups of players came into a team that had a core of very experienced, good players. I understand calling it Project Youth. I don't really care about that element. If you had two or three.
Very good. I'll let you finish, and I'll tell you why.
I get that. The PR element of it, I'm not that interested in. It's more if you add a better spine now, some more experienced players. I think these individuals can raise their game even further. I think asking for another season for the young talent to be talisman, to be the linchpins, to be the spearhead. I actually think that's quite dangerous for Arsenal Football Club to do, because the pressure is very, very hard. You need these young players to have more experience around them so that they're able to flourish and grow and actually make their mistakes without everybody putting too much pressure upon them. And that's, again, I look at my club in our heyday, in our pomp, we developed some very young players, some through the academy, some that we purchased. But when Wayne Rooney came in, as an example, in the summer of 2004, yes, we looked at him as this great light for the future. But Ruud van Nistelrooy was our main striker. You know, we had Paul Scholes and Roy Keane in the middle. They were our leaders. Nobody looked at Rooney and said, right, you need to win us the league now. That's what I think Arsenal and Man United have been in this position as well as in recent times, where all the pressure's on the youngsters to deliver. And I think that element needs to be kind of changed. But I think Odegaard had a very good second half of the season for you. Does he now need to go to another level? Does he need to increase? Do some fans overhype him? Yes. I want to pull one other thing you said, though. Rob Holding, you think he's better than Ben White, legitimately?
Yeah, he can defend. He can actually defend. Yeah, people are like, listen, he ain't great. Yeah, let's not get it twisted. He ain't the answer. Yeah, but he's a better defender than Ben White. But again, Ben White's got nice tattoos. He walks out of defence with the ball. Yay. Yeah, he can't defend. The geezer's clown. Absolute clown in defence. I've seen enough of him this season to know he ain't good enough. Yeah, when he's letting the ball run under his foot against Timo Pukki in the 95th minute. Yeah, and Pukki nearly equalised. Why? There's no one around him. Clear it. Why are you putting your foot up and letting it run into the penalty box? Yeah, against Lewis Graben. He's looking at Rob Holding and getting sucked over to the ball when he can see Graben overtaking Cedric. Yeah, and he's the only player running into the box. Why didn't he push over and cut the angle down? Against Mateta the other day, in the Palace game. He stood right next to Mateta, goal side, gets sucked into the ball. Why? You're not a good defender, mate. Yeah, not a good defender at all. And we pay 50 million for that. Oh, William Saliba's better than all of them. Yeah, William Saliba, if we're talking about stats, because like I said, I know there's a lot of people that love XT and XP and all that. Statistically, William Saliba's the cleanest tackler in the top 5 leagues. Yeah, cleanest tackler in the top 5 leagues, statistically.
What's a clean tackle?
I'll tell you, Terry.
No, I'll get it. I've never heard that phrase before. I saw another stat today, which was like expected points, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, mate, this expected rubbish is a load of crap, isn't it?
Do you know, even expected goals. I found the flaw in it a little while ago, and no one's really talking about it. It's almost like if Karim Benzema and Dan James have the same chance from the same angle with the same amount of defenders and the goalie in the same position.
Yeah, the XD should be different.
It should be, because Benzema's a better finisher. So I would expect Benzema to finish a higher percentage of harder chances and a higher percentage of easier chances because he's a better footballer. Therefore, XG doesn't mean anything. It's nonsense. Like, there are some sitters out there that most pros wouldn't miss, that the average man on the street would, which means XG is bullshit. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's an absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
I'm trying to find this Saliba thing that I posted the other day on my story.
I suppose a clean tackle would be like when they're tackling and winning the ball, but there's no like ricochet or bounce. It's just almost like I don't know. I've never heard that one before, but that's an interesting one. No. Look, Saliba's going to be intriguing to see how much game time he kind of gets. It gets as he kind of moves into next year. As an example, while I found it.
Right, William Saliba is statistically the cleanest tackler in Europe with a true tackle success rate, whatever that means, of 80%. Right. It then says 65 tackles attempted, tackles made successfully 52. Yeah. 8 times dribbled past all season, 5 fouls from tackles attempted. He's only made 5 fouls from tackle attempted all season. Mate, that is relentless, yeah? No disrespect, right? I'm not big on stats and all that, but I love when people go, oh, you say you don't like stats. Yeah, but you lot throw stats around your players all the time. So now you don't like it when I'm giving you stats. Yeah? So it's like, he's given away 5 fouls out of 60-odd tackles he's made. That is actually relentless, mate. I've seen Ben White give away 5 in a game.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the Prem. I think it's faster pace and everything. Someone here says XG is not a metric to rate strikers. I don't know if you're like agreeing with us or disagreeing with us. I feel like I just think it's flawed based on how I've heard it explained. Because you can't, not everyone's, I just don't think it is. Mavropanos and Saliba are Arsenal's best defenders, is what Raphael says here. Where is Mavropanos now? Where's that man at? Is he gone? We'll come on to the Chelsea super chats later.
He's probably our best midfielder as well. When he's out, he's gone. He's going to be signed by Marseille at the end of the season, isn't he?
Attitude problem, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, apparently, yeah. Apparently. Yeah, the only one with an attitude problem at Arsenal, mate, is the manager.
There's a comment here that says that Lee has a problem with good-looking people. Horse. I'll say this. I've heard a rumor about horses in Lee. Not that he's done anything with them. Do you know what I mean?
You are actually a wrong one.
I am a bit of a wrong one, mate. I am a wrong. It's because I'm very comfortable in my sexuality, you see, so I can just say these things. Terry was Arteta out 2 weeks ago. I wasn't. I said that he had to, if he didn't recover from this position, then that he'd be.
Terry, this is the point, yeah. Recover from what? What, he lost 3 games, and everyone. If he had lost that game to Chelsea, right, everyone would have been Arteta out. Let's not pretend that weren't going to happen, because most people are starting to flip the other way anyway. He then gets the result against Chelsea. Everyone gets gassed. Well, no disrespect, we beat them last season and finished 8th. Yeah, then we played Man United, the worst Man United team in my lifetime, probably the same in your lifetime, because you're younger than me, right? It is the worst Man United team. Let's be honest here. In our lifetimes, it is, right? So we now get gassed because we beat you at the Emirates. Well, we beat you every year at the Emirates for the last 5 years, pretty much. You ain't won since 2017-18 at the Emirates. Yeah, Wenger was still our manager the last time you beat us at the Emirates. Yeah, and let's be real, on another day, Bruno scores the penalty, and you probably go and win it. So let's not get all hyped here. Then we go and beat West Ham. Well, West Ham had one eye on the Europa League. Yeah, the rest is Souček and their only striker, Antonio. Come on, man. This guy's the luckiest manager in the Premier League. Yeah, and his luck's about to run out in the Champions League. I'm telling you that, mate. Yeah, we're being pot free, I think, Terry, yeah? Does anyone genuinely think that we're going to get out of that group? And if we do, we're getting slapped in the first knockout stage. We could end up in a group with Real Madrid and Inter Milan, or Bayern and Barcelona, or PSG and Inter Milan. Mate, we can't even beat Olympiacos and Villarreal. Yeah.
Look, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, though, it wasn't that long ago that you said Arteta was going to get you like relegated, and obviously, like you're now in the Champions League.
And he should have been sacked.
No, but he might surprise you. He might surprise you. Lee,
first time ever, Tottenham was sat top while we were sat bottom. That should have been a sackable offence straight away.
I understand where you're coming from with that. Lee, you wanted Unai Emery out though, but now you sing his praises. Lol
what part of the show did you miss, Holy Moly? What part of the show did you miss? Because I said that I wanted him sacked until this guy got the job, and I wanted him back. Did you miss
that? Marshall here says the issue. Sorry, I don't know. Well, what you're saying is not. Sorry, that it's not unlike United. Arsenal have top-down structural issues that has been rotting us from the inside for 17 years and counting, and being happy over those irrelevant W's deflects from that. But
great comment, because I say you the project. Well, sorry, it's a youth project now. It was a process, wasn't it? Is backed and run by the Kroenke family, the same Kroenke family that the majority of this fan base openly admit they don't want. So if you're Arteta in, you're Kroenke, right? Because you're trusting his process. It's his process. It's his project.
Well, this is again. This is one of those areas where I agree with you on. So I feel Gary Neville said this a few weeks back on the overlap, and it was Gary Neville's had a lot of stick from Gunners, but this is one thing he was right upon. He was talking United and Arsenal. And when you've been down in the doldrums for such a long time, and then you improve, there is almost this element of you can get a little bit giddy and carried away because it's better than what you've been going through. That's true. But this is why Arsenal fans can't take their foot off it. One of the biggest things I disagree with Arsenal fans on this season is I've seen them. I was watching a show, a couple of Arsenal fans talking different platform, and they were arguing with each other because there was people on the show saying, "Oh, I really like what the Kroenke's now doing. I'm no longer Kroenke out. I think they're doing a brilliant job." And the counter argument was, it's been 3 or 4, at this point, it was like 3 or 4 months of some decent results. It was almost, that can't be long enough to undo nearly 2 decades of underperforming as a football club. I did the 12th Man show a few weeks back, just before the Arsenal United game. I said the same thing to Igal. Igal would say in one breath, and Igal, I use Igal as an example because I talked to him, but I see a lot of Arsenal fans do this. In one breath, it will be, I don't trust Edu, Vinay, and a lot of the decisions the club are making. But at the same time, I'm excited about the project. I'm excited about the signings. I'm excited about the appointment of Arteta. I'm excited about the renewal of his contracts. And it's like, well, all those, this is what people forget to realize in modern day football. Arteta isn't doing all those things in a Wenger Fergie-esque way where he's in control of the whole club. It's the people behind him you're saying you don't trust that are executing, helping him to execute these plans. So if you are 100% behind everything happening on the pitch, the direction, the project youth, the manager, you can't be. I just don't believe you can be Kroenke out at the same time. I don't think those two things they almost have to be mutually exclusive of one another if you're backing everything that's going on and every decision that's being made.
Exactly. So the funny thing is then, Terry, is then when it all goes sideways and wonkies, everyone blames Kroenke. So it's like, well, hang on a minute, mate. Yeah, and then all you hear as well, this is another good one. All you hear as well is, oh yeah, but do you actually trust this board and this ownership? Yeah, that if they sack Arteta, that they'll actually go and get a proper manager then. Well, you've been trusting it with a process which is now a youth project for the last 2.5 years. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, if you trust everything they're doing with Arteta, then you have to trust that because one thing I do, again, these are where I sit in the middle, and if people can call it fence sitting if they want, I don't really care. When I hear people say that they don't think that Arsenal could attract anybody better than Arteta, that's the only bit that annoys me because I think, well, at the same breath, you're saying you can attract some of the best footballers in the world. How can you attract some of the best footballers in the world but not attract a world-class manager?
It makes no sense. Conte went to Tottenham. And apparently we're better than them, yeah. So
that element
world-class manager go to Tottenham then, but we can't get one.
Comment here says, "Big up Terry and big up Lee." Lots of our fans who are dopes who buy KSE as BS. Our club has been broken for years, and this started under Arsene Wenger. Thank you for that super chat. Same top gooners didn't want Europa League before, is what SG's got to say. Spaceman Trooper says Unai Emery wasn't sacked for his full season 17-18. He got fired for not winning a game after 2 months.
Keep that on the screen when you finish reading it. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It goes, we were 16th at the time. 8th was on Unai Emery as much as Mikel. Goalpost moved again.
Right. Spaceman Trooper, go and do your research properly. Because if you're going to come with useless lies, then you're coming to the wrong person, mate. When he got sacked, we were 8th. Yeah. Then Freddie Ljungberg took over, and the lowest we went was 11th, which is when he got the job. He then took us to 8th. So what are you talking about 16th, mate? The only manager that's had a 16th in the table is this manager. He actually had us bottom. Yeah, Unai Emery, got sacked when we were 8th in the table. And this manager finished 8th in the table. What are you talking about? And when he got sacked, I think it was 8 points off of top 4 with 25 games to go. And we hadn't won a game for 2 months. The first 25 games Arteta took over, statistically, wins, draws, losses, goals scored, goals against was worse than Unai Emery's last 25. But apparently Unai Emery lost the dressing room. But this manager had everyone running around onside. Everyone was great. It was all, the process at the time, wasn't it? Process, yeah. Mm-hmm. So how come statistically he was worse in the first 25 than Unai Emery's worst ever? And how comes we sacked him? Hold on, how comes we sacked him? Yeah, but then this manager finishes 8th. Okay, cool. First season, we'll give you that. Half a season. Now you've got your first full season. Now you're 8th. How comes it gets to go again then?
So I look at it this way. Listen, look. I don't disagree that maybe, just maybe, they should have given Unai Emery more time. I think that's a fair argument. I really do. I feel like though with Mikel Arteta, I do think he has the dressing room on his side. I don't know whether the dressing room was behind Unai Emery or not. Maybe they did go too hasty. Maybe they realized, you know what, we want to do something different. Maybe they are trying to rebuild the club and get you back to where you want to go, and they wanted to do it in a very different way. We're only going to know in the future. And what's really interesting about all of this is we were talking about this last night on the Top 6 show, how a lot of people like coming for you. And by the way, I stand by what I said at the start. I think for certain elements of what he's done this season, improvements that we've seen, I've seen, and I think of there, I feel like Arteta deserves an element of respect from all Arsenal fans, and people will disagree with that. What I will say is this though: people are like, I see people coming for you and other gooners saying, see, you were wrong. I'm kind of like, well, you guys have made the top 4, but no one should be. Again, it's over celebrating because until Mikel Arteta wins a league title or a Champions League, he hasn't achieved. He hasn't achieved the end goal at the very, or he hasn't achieved any end goal because Arsenal standards should be to have to get to that point.
Yeah, but Terry, the problem is most of these people haven't ever seen us win a league title.
No, and I
So
understand
that
that.
is now
I,
because
I
Wenger
don't,
was telling them and putting it in their head every single year, top four, top four, top four, top four. It's in their head.
what I'm saying
Sky
is that,
Sports pushing it out, BT Sport,
no,
beIN Sport, every media outlet.
and I get that, But my point is more arched around the fact that there's a lot of Arsenal fans at the minute celebrating. I told you I was right about Mikel Arteta, and I'm like, but you're not right because he isn't the right guy until you win one of those major trophies. Celebrate and be happy if you feel that your trajectory is moving towards that. That isn't an issue, but it's this polarized nature and this obsession with being right, which I'm just honestly, I've got to a stage now where it used to annoy me. Now I quite enjoy watching. It's like watching a fucking David Attenborough documentary, and it's almost watching these two sets of fans that have different opinions but the same polarization over the same person kind of go at each other, where it's like, are you all kind of forgetting about the football club in the middle?
Yeah, they do, because at the end of the day, Terry, it's now seen to be negative if you want to win the major honour. Yeah, 18 years ago we won the league at their ground. Yeah, from that day onwards, millions and millions and millions of people started supporting Arsenal Football Club. Yeah, that ain't even a lie. 18 years later, this is now being dressed up as the biggest top four, the biggest North London derby ever. Can I just say, yeah, 2016 was bigger because we were in title races. Yeah, the season Leicester won it. Do you remember when we beat Leicester and Danny Welbeck scored?
Yes.
Yeah, and jumped in the crowd. Yeah, we were in a title race. Tottenham were in a title race, albeit they weren't ever top that season. They were still there, and they bottled it right at the end. Yeah,
so you don't think this is that big then? So you don't feel like this North London derby is that big?
Decide who finishes third or fourth loser. Turn it in, Terry. Yeah, come on. And you know what makes it even funnier, right? Is the fact that people are dressing this up like it is the biggest North London. Mate, 18 years ago, we won a title at their ground. 18 years later, this is now being dubbed the biggest North London derby since then. Because we're going to maybe get full.
One of the biggest. It's one of the biggest, though. How many since then have been since you won at their stadium? I would say.
Well, 2010 when we done them when we done them that season, we got top four.
Lasagna Gate is one. You've got 2016 that you've mentioned, but I really think this fits into at least top 3, top 4 of the last 2 decades.
Terry.
Maybe 5 that are no, I think it does. In the top 10 is the biggest. But
oh my God, Terry!
The last one you mentioned was 2016.
That's
like 8 years ago.
No, I said that one was bigger because we were in a title race. Listen to what I said. We were in a title race. How many North London derbies? Yeah, since 2004. How many North London derbies have we been in a title race?
What? But both of you. Hang on. But both of you fighting for something significant.
Fighting for what? For the trophy of third loser.
But but the thing is that they want this. This is the thing. Like both teams want and feel they need Champions League.
Exactly, because that is seen as the be all and end all. Because the way that tournament's gone, the way the media build it up, the way YouTube channels build it up, the way Twitter accounts and Instagram, the way the fan bases have been polluted into thinking that actually you don't have to win a league title, mate, because you can finish third loser and that'll get you better players.
But I don't think everyone thinks that, Lee.
Your manager, Ralph Rangnick, said the other day that finishing top 4 don't get you better players. Money does. Your manager said that.
Yeah, but being in the Champions League gives you even. But being in the Champions League gives you even more money, therefore more players.
What do you think? Hang on. So Arsenal haven't been in the Champions League for what, 5 years?
Right.
How much money have we done in 5 years, Terry?
Well, you have spent a lot, but do you think?
So it's irrelevant then, isn't it? We signed Aubameyang, one of the best strikers in Europe.
But it isn't irrelevant.
We signed Lacazette, one of the best strikers in Europe at the time, without Champions League. We signed Thomas Partey without Champions League.
Lee, I get that.
Hang on,
Lee, wait though. There will come a point though, if you never get back into the Champions League, where your overall income as an organization will drop. We know that because when you look at the sponsorships that clubs can get, when you're in the Champions League, you get paid more. You get paid the TV rights, etc. There are other clubs that used to be Champions League teams, a decade ago, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, that are no longer even in the top flight of football because they didn't have the income coming in anymore, and the money was a lot less back then. But then players cost less. It's all relative, really. Clubs have probably pretty much spent the same amount of money on transfers and wages now on a percentage basis as they did 30, 40 years ago. But to get back into that generates more income, which means you could again, and this is where you hold your club accountable. it puts you into the position to have. The reason I would celebrate it as an Arsenal fan isn't to lower the standards. And let me just put this out there from the start, so I'll break this down. There are some deluded gooners that will celebrate getting top 4 like a trophy. And I agree with you, that's wrong. There are others, though, that are happy they're in it because what it's going to do, it enables them to hold the club to account more. And it should do this more because there is zero excuses to not keep spending. There is zero excuses in the Champions League with the income that comes with it to not renew. Say Saka goes to another level next year and he's scoring lots more goals, Champions League, Premier League. And we already know that Liverpool and the like are looking at him. If you've got the money, there is no excuse to allow your best players to leave based on we don't want to pay him that much money.
Fantastic point. Fantastic. Great. So, super fan Dozy. Explain to me why Van Persie went to you lot. Explain to me why Nasri went to City. Adebayor to City.
Exactly. You're proving my point.
To Barcelona. Because if we're in that Champions League, Terry, that's the be all and end all. When you can attract everything, you get more money, you can keep your best players. Why do we keep selling them then?
Because exactly the point. Exactly my point.
No, you just said that you can sign them up. There's no reason not to keep them.
No, exactly. There's no reason not to. No, exactly. You're proving my point. There's no reason not to keep them. The reason that you didn't keep the Van Persies, the reason that your players left for 10, 15 years under Wenger was 2 reasons. You didn't show the ambition to actually try.
Ambition.
Let me finish my point. I'm agreeing with you, but you're not getting
go and get a beer. I'm listening. I'm going to go and get a beer.
The point is, there is no excuse to not renew these contracts. There is no excuse not to keep your best players at your football club. The reason that the likes of the Van Persies and a lot of these other players left, they will say it was to win trophies, but it was also partly to be paid the going rate in the market. And if Arsenal would have paid Sami and Nasri, at the time, Sagna, Clichy, Van Persie, Fabregas, if you would have paid them the big bucks and spent big and spent that Champions League money in the market and bought the right players, more of them would have stayed. And that's what I would say here. You actually should use this, Lee. I'm giving you advice here. You should use getting into the Champions League as a bigger anchor and as a bigger platform and foundation to push the need for the standards to be raised because there's zero excuses.
So
When you're out of the Champions
League, you just mentioned a minute ago
about
money.
When you're out of the Champions League, people can give the excuses. When you're in it, there's none left. This should be an Arteta outer's wet dream because there's zero excuses now.
I can't wait. He's getting passed around like a peace pipe next season, mate. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he does get sacked because he's barely struggling to get into it now. We're going to come up against the proper teams in Europe because we're going to be in pot 3, right? And then he's got to fight on more fronts than one. He's struggling as it is. And you just mentioned a minute ago, which I'm going to rip you apart for now. You said, but they left for ambition and to get paid more money. Yeah. But you just also said that we were earning more money by being in the Champions League. And let's be real, we were in the Champions League every year.
Yes.
Yeah, every year for 20. Not 1 year, not 4 years in a row and then out for a year, not 10 years in a row and out for 2. We were there every year, right?
Yeah.
So why did Nasri go to Man City? I'll tell you why. He knew he was going to get paid handsomely anywhere, whether it's Arsenal or anywhere else. But he wanted to win a title. Why did Van Persie leave Arsenal? Well, we now know it's because they never showed the ambition. He said it on BT Sport. Adebayor ran the whole length of the pitch after scoring a goal to get pelters from our fans, right? He then does a 20-page spread in one of the newspapers saying that actually I came into training after being 34 goals or whatever it was the season before. And Wenger said, we're selling you to Man City. He said, boss, I want to stay. He said, you either go or you're in the reserves. Right? So then, hang on. I would not have believed that until Van Persie come out years later on BT Sport and said pretty much the same. Yeah, I wanted them to match the ambition. I wanted to know where they were going, and then they never offered the deal. Yeah, so when people sit there and say Champions League can attract better players, Champions League, you can keep your players. Yeah, that's cool. That's great. Should we have a look at what we attracted and what we kept then? Granit Xhaka.
But Lee, I'm agreeing with you. This is
but you're not though, Terry, because you say you are and you're not. You are and you're not. Yeah, you are. You are in a way, but at the same time you're not. Yeah, because you're saying that being in the Champions League gets you more money. Yeah, yes. Of course it does. Okay, but Arsenal have actually signed some better quality of player by not being in it. Ironically,
what you sometimes get is you get that knee-jerk reaction. But I think where you're missing my point is that there are no excuses now to not maintain the talent that you all rate and to go out there and buy more.
For 20 years,
Terry. Exactly. But my point is not forget 20 years. Look at now.
No,
People are
no, no,
saying,
no, 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 Terry. Not look at
why?
just now. You have to look at the previous, yeah. Because I'll
Of
tell
course,
you
no,
why,
I
and I'll tell you
understand.
exactly why. No, I'll tell you why, yeah. Because the previous was, oh yeah, but we're in the Champions League every year, yeah. All puffing our chests out. Oh, look at us, yeah. Arsene Wenger, keep him in a job, yay. Look at what he's doing. He's paying the stadium off, which was another lie, by the way, yeah. Because getting in the Champions League covered the 20 million quid it cost every year to pay it, because it was on a 25-year mortgage, which the Cronkies refinanced into their own name in 2018. Yeah, so that was another lie peddled out by the mainstream media. And I swear he was getting a percentage of profit on player sales. Because there's no way you're selling all of them players, mate.
Well, a lot of managers in that era did, to be fair. Look, bro,
I know Sean Dyche was. Well, yeah, but let me say this here very quickly, right?
Go on.
I left my lighter inside. Let me say this very quickly, yeah, right? We have. I want to ask you a question, right? In the 20 years that we were in Champions League, week in, week out, every single season. Oh, yes, St. Tottenham's Day and all that crap, right? 20 years in the Champions League, right? And listen to the way I asked this question there, because the chat, you need to listen to this as well. How many players did Arsenal sign, and on the day that they were signed by Arsenal, they were already world class? Yeah. So this myth of Champions League, you can attract the top talent. Please do tell me how many players, and name them, you as well, Terry, yeah? How many players that were world class on the day we signed them whilst having Champions League football? Not that turned out to be world class, like the Omris, the Vieiras, etc. Players that were actually world class on the day we signed them.
I understand.
Tell me how many.
I understand that. That isn't my point. Like you are missing.
No, that's my point, because this is the myth, Terry. The myth is you get Champions League, you can attract the top talent. Rubbish.
Well, exactly. Again, you're missing my point. Maybe because you're just not letting me finish, or you're not listening to it. I'm stating that these are the things that are being said, claimed by the club, by the media, by the blue ticks, and everything else. Well, hold them to account then. I think I'm just saying to you, you're missing an opportunity here to use this against them as then we should have no excuses. Arsenal, the reason you fell apart.
I'm going to sit on the beach all summer and wait for us to do nothing all summer, really, and then watch it all capitulate.
Mate, let me just finish my point, though. What I'm saying is this. You getting into the Champions League is better for you as a football club. You getting into the Champions League gives you the additional money, additional resources. How you then use that, how you then progress from that, what you do as a football club is where the proof's going to be in the pudding, which is why I'm not saying that Arteta is the new Messiah. I'm not saying that any Arsenal fan should be getting behind the Cronkies right now, because you've done very little in the grand scheme of things. You might be in the right level of trajectory. You might be moving in the right direction in some people's eyes, but you've got to wait until you get to that end result. And the little examples I would look at is this. In 2 years' time, let's see where the Sakas and the Smith Rowes and the Martinellis are. Any player that progresses to a really high level within your team, will your club pay them the readies and the money to stay? And in doing that, what it does, it sets the precedent. So now we can go back to history. I believe if you were paying your stars the right amount of money, and the one thing that Wenger got wrong, and I think they were wrong for doing this, you bought some brilliant players before they were world class. Henry's, Emmanuel, Vieira's, class, mate. These guys ruined parts of my childhood at times. Great footballers. The difference was when you need, we're going to get onto this with the Chelsea conversation. There's always a moment in football where things have to evolve. And I remember that the pundits talking about this, journalists and fans at the time, there was just almost this element of, I know Wenger likes to buy a young player for 5 million and turn him into at the time, 30 million pounds, a lot of bloody money, but turn him into a valuable world-class player. But football started to shift, especially when Chelsea got their money because of what they were spending. And it got to a point where what Arsenal sometimes needed to do was go out and try and buy the best striker in the world. One of the best. The problem is when you have a Vieira and you have an Henry and you lose them both, even if you do get the next Henry and Vieiras, it might take you 3 or 4 years to raise your levels. Man United went through this. We should have replaced Paul Scholes 4 or 5 years before he retired with some
retirement.
We should have replaced him with even not Paul Pogba. Pogba should have been given the game time. We should have replaced Scholes, Rio, Vidic with world-class players who were world-class at that time. That's the only way you maintain the level. And we didn't do that. We tried to develop Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, and we turned down signing Sergio Aguero because he wasn't. The Glazers didn't value him as value for money in the market. That was us scrimping and scraping. We started doing exactly the same type of things of Arsenal. We still spent more, but we were on the same thing where we were eroding our past and we were damaging the squad in the longer term by cutting corners and being cheapskates. My point now is there is still a possibility that Arsenal do that again. I think you feel that there will be. 100%. The point is, with the way that the fan base and the media are building this up, the difference in this era compared to all the previous ones, I know why you're angry, because you remember all these lies. You remember them saying, we're not renewing the contracts at 300 grand a week because we're paying the stadium off. You remember all these lies, which is why you're not buying into the PR now. But this is your opportunity as a content creator around Arsenal primarily to use the lies of the past and hold this new project up to those standards. So when you've got Champions League,
I've been doing for 2.5 years.
I get that, but now you're in the Champions League. If it goes the way
we're not in it yet, by the way.
Okay, when you get into the Champions League, there is then nowhere for anybody to hide if you guys start treading.
No, but there will be, Terry, because I'll give you an example.
There will be. There won't be.
There will be, and I'll tell you why. Because if we finish 6th this season, we're not going to. Nice. If we had finished 6th this season, it would have been with us an improvement on last season. David Ornstein's already put out there and sat on Sky Sports News saying that Arsenal are ahead of schedule if they get top 4, right? So that's the ambition straight away, is just get top 6. They offered him a new contract. He signed it whilst in top 6. Can't finish lower than 6th, right? So now we get Champions League. We're not going to be shopping in the top tier. Otherwise, we're going in for Erling Haaland, right? So we're now going to be shopping in a tier lower down. So now we're not going to be able to attract top talent then, the top talent, right? So now we're going to go in the Champions League. Let's say we get knocked out in the group stage and end up in Europa League. Oh, well, it's the youngest squad in the Champions League. And it's going to be rinse and repeat. Yeah, let's say we get knocked totally out the Champions League. Oh, well, again, it's the youngest squad. And, it takes time. It's the first season back. What a load of cobblers, mate.
Again, on that point there, this is again.
Let's say we get out of the group.
Hang on,
get to the 16.
But this is where it's about being smart in these conversations. So, if you don't buy any experience, if you don't add proper quality to this squad now, and people say, yeah, but it's a young squad, my argument to them will just be, then why aren't you angry at your football club for not adding that quality? So when I had this from my friends at Gunners 10, 15 years ago. Oh, you didn't challenge the title this year. Yeah, but how are we meant to when Henry and Vieira are gone, we ain't replaced them? And I'd be like, yeah, but you're almost using that as an excuse and not anger towards your club. For me, it's like when we lost Cristiano Ronaldo and replaced him with fucking Obertan and Michael Owen, I was fuming because it was, hang on, this isn't right. And that's the one thing I'm intrigued to see from Gunners this year, especially the TPFs, the toxic positivity fans. Will they actually start to hold their club to account or not? If you don't,
we've already seen they're not. They're happy and over the moon that El Nenny's getting a new contract. Eddie signing up. Like, come on, Terry, man, you're trolling.
I'm just putting this out. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Like, I think there's things to be positive about, but the standards have to be raised year in, year out to get to the end result, which is winning these damn trophies. And
standards don't get raised at Arsenal. That's my point, Terry, which is why the whole chat's full up with people going, oh, yeah, this guy's negative, this guy's toxic. Mate, none of you have seen us win a title. And if you have, raise it to that standard. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are the 3rd biggest club in the country. Yeah, that ain't even a debate at the moment. We are the 3rd biggest club in the country. We're one of the biggest clubs in world football. And our fan base, the majority of our fan base online are saying, sign Eddie Nketiah to a new deal. Give El Neni a new deal. Sorry, mate. I know where this is going. Yeah,
I agree. I agree with
the battle. I always end up winning the war, Terry. Yeah.
I agree with you on the point there about the Nketiah deals. Nathan here says, what is the point of being in the Champions League if we're not going to compete to win it?
Thank you.
We've done this under Wenger for 20 years and lost Henry, RVP, Alexis, Nasri, Fabregas. The same thing is going to happen with ESR, Saka, and Martinelli. Well, this is the thing, right? If it happens again,
as well, mate.
I do feel in this era, because of social media, and I'll give you an example of something I learned. There was a news report, and we're going to get into Chelsea a little bit later, but that on Sky from about 10 years ago, where social media did exist, but not with the prevalence it has now, where there was a journalist on there talking about how Roman got his money. And all when this sanction things happened, I looked at it, and there's a lot of Chelsea fans going, I had no idea how this happened. I feel like in this era, though, so many more receipts are so easily attainable because of the internet, because of social media, because it's all on Twitter. It's easy to go and find. It's really hard to go and find an article from 16 years ago where somebody said something, unless you know the exact quote as an example. I think things are kept more now, and I think more Arsenal fans will buy into this if as Nathan says, the same actions are taken. Let's finish third loser so we get more money through the Champions League football, then not sign any top players with that money as they want to win, is what Mark says.
Exactly. What's the aim of elite sport? It's to win.
In the end, absolutely. No sugar for Chelsea. Says no IQ insight in Lee. Terry, educate him. I educate Lee every week.
I'll educate him. Yeah. What's the aim of elite sport? It's to win the major honour.
Listen, yeah. I know. Do you know how I know I educate
more money
Lee?
than any other club in the world? So the we can't compete line is a load of rubbish.
Do you know how I know I educate Lee? Every time he turns up backstage to this show, he brings me an apple. That guy that super chatted earlier about Unai Emery, he actually says my bad, my facts were wrong, not straight. So appreciate you coming back and saying that. The last Champions League winner was a fourth biggest loser in the league. Behave. I think he's talking about Chelsea.
Hang on. Whoa. Rewind. Rewind a minute. Rewind. Why? Yeah, why did Chelsea win it? Because they sacked a puppet that was no good as a manager. Fantastic footballer, by the way, Lampard. They're all-time top goal scorer. Proper good footballer. But he was a puppet out of his depth that was openly admitting that squad ain't good enough to win anything. And then he got sacked. And fair play, they brought in a world-class manager, which, by the way, when they hired Tuchel, we were sat 15th for 5 games in a row, and he was unemployed for all 5 of them. So they go and get a proper manager, and then they go and win the tournament. Since then, Thomas Tuchel has arrived in 6 out of 7 finals he could have been in. How are you comparing Arsenal to Chelsea? Yeah, Chelsea have actually got ambition. Their fans are ambitious. I watched Matisse last night sitting there saying, it doesn't matter whether we finish 3rd or 4th because it ain't a trophy to me. That's the mentality. But unfortunately, Arsene Wenger has polluted most of this fan base online into thinking that 4th is, because none of them have actually seen us win a league title. And if they have, they were knee-high to a grasshopper.
I haven't heard that saying in a while. Super chat here says, can Gunner's hand on heart see Arteta winning the league or Champions League? If you can't, how can you back it? Serious question. Standards are so low now. Thank you very much for that super chat, my friend. Thank you. Say Arteta gets the boot. What makes the next guy different? The problem is the owners and their targets. Is Arteta the guy? No. Could the next guy be worse? Yes. Is it fun supporting the club? No.
But that's my point. That's what I was saying earlier. As soon as you mention get rid of Arteta, and it's not a dig at this guy, big up to you, mate. It's not a dig at him. As soon as you mention get rid of Arteta, all of a sudden the Cronkies win the conversation. Well, why haven't the Cronkies been in the conversation for 2.5 years then? Yeah,
I hear you on that. Listen, I mean, for me, I look at the owners.
If we had ambition, when Conte's on his way down to Tottenham, we would have phoned him up or his agent and said, well, if you're going to that lot, mate, you're coming to us, yeah? And then we should have sacked Arteta on the spot and gave him the job.
It's a good point. Thank you very much for that, Marnitz. Why don't you use the logic of Arsenal in your life? You say it's failure if you don't win, get trophies, but because you're not at the top of life, you've failed. So basically saying because you're not Bill Gates or Elon Musk, Lee, you're a failure.
I don't give a shit, mate. I'm sat here getting a beautiful fan talking about football. Yeah, I'm loving life. Yeah, you're not getting so triggered over it. The fact is, in elite sport, yeah, I'm not in elite sport, am I? Because I weren't good enough to be in elite sport.
No.
So neither were you. Neither were the people in the chat.
Oh, hang on. I competed for my country, brother. Kickbox. That was all right.
Come on. Big up, Terry. What was that in?
Kickboxing, karate. I did gold medals at British and European level, but I'll be honest with you, when I got to world level, I could only manage bronze. I never got any better than the bronze. And then when I went into
second loser,
third loser.
Second loser.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
No, but this is the point in elite sport.
And then I went into full contact fighting, and I wasn't good enough. And it's a very painful sport to not be good enough in. So I left. I quit.
There you go. But that's the point. The point is in elite sport. I see somebody in my comments the other day saying, oh, yeah, but Ford used to sell the most cars, but now they're not great. Does that mean they should fold? Well, Ford ain't got 100 million people watching them globally every single weekend, have they, mate? Well, the Ford what do these people not think when they speak? Yeah, at the end of the day, we are the 3rd biggest club in the country. So act like it. Act like it.
Third, absolutely. If Arsenal finished outside the top 6, Lee would have said, "I told you so." Now he's waffling. Simples, don't be wrong and strong.
Hamza, if you go back to my videos all summer, I said Arsenal should be getting top 4, mate. I don't know what you're talking about. I said we should be getting top 4.
KSI hasn't changed. He looks so old at the Super Bowl that he met Jefferson in person. Thomas Jefferson, I think you mean. He ruined our club, and when he gets to Champions League, we won't compete again. Freddie says, Lee, how would you proceed this summer to win the league title? Sack the manager, you're gonna say, yeah.
That's the first thing, yeah. Sack the manager, sack 95% of the fan base.
Sack the fans.
Hey, Terry, I'll give you an example, right? This beer, for example, yeah. I'm going to say this, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, yeah. This beer costs, say, 50 cents, right? And I'll go and buy it every other weekend, yeah, right? But say out of, I don't know, 38 weekends, it tastes like rubbish and dishwater, maybe 11 of them, yeah. But I still keep going back. Then the following year, that's now €1.50. Right, and again, out of 38 weekends, it tastes like dishwater for 11 or 12 of them again. Then the following season, it goes up to €3.50, and again, it tastes like dishwater for 11 out of 38 weekends. Who's the problem here? Is it the person selling me it or me buying it? That is Arsenal and Stan Kroenke. Arsenal fans are the issue because they keep getting served up dross and accepting it. Yeah, if you raise the standards, we won't keep getting served up dross. Pretty simple. Even a Muppet can deal with it.
What are you calling me? 2.5 years into a project, and we've got Holding, El Neni, Eddie in the team. I thought the plan was to win the Champions League within 3 seasons, is what Nathan said.
The funny thing is with that comment as well, right? Do you remember the first 3 games of the season? Oh, but we didn't. We had all our first teamers out. Oh, this dross needs to go. Funny that, because now they've won 4 in a row with the same dross. Yeah, sign them all up.
Right. I hear you on that.
Oh, isn't it?
Lee, we are the generation that winning is the only standard. There is no such thing as taking part, is what Mosley's got to say. And listen, viewers, I'd like to get more of your opinions and more of your views on that. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Over 2,200 people watching, which is amazing. Final super chat on this point. Well, you can super chat more if you want, but it says, to put it simply, we've seen the same movie for 17 years. Difference now is the club is trying to peddle the same Kevin Bacon movie minus Kevin Bacon, with the lead actor playing the role of Kevin Bacon. The thing is, I do agree. It's one of the reasons that I don't give money to Man United anymore, is because until I see significant changes of how they run the club, I'm not bought in or overly excited about anything that's going on. And it's kind of one of those things where people call me an Ollie sympathizer, and I was never backing Ollie. I just said there's no point sacking him because I don't trust what we're going to do afterwards. Like, until it was just an endless merry-go-round. Lee. Would Lee have wanted Conte when he was something, Araza or Klopp when he was at Mainz? Not great managers started as a house on fire, except Pep. So
would you completely that comment? Like, we'd have to decipher it anyway. But big up for putting it in. Yeah, but mate, no disrespect. Yeah, a manager earns their stripes. They don't just get given a job, do they? Unless you're Mikel Arteta. Does anyone know who the assistant manager of Man City is now? Yeah, when Arteta finally goes, we're going to go and employ him. Yeah, so when these managers you're talking about are at smaller clubs, yeah, you've just backed my point. Why didn't you go and earn your stripes at a smaller club, prove you're a good manager, and then get the job at the big club? Yeah, because if I remember rightly, he went from Mainz to Dortmund to title winning, Champions League finals, and now he's at Liverpool winning. Didn't just get given Liverpool, did he? So
yeah. To that point, very few managers start off like a house on fire. Lee is spot on with stats. Ozil, prime example. Most assists in the Premier League and all comps between 2013 and 2017, but his performances were crap.
Yep.
Viewers, hit like and share buttons. I want to pick Chelsea with you. We had this kind of conversation privately the other day because you were watching the stream with Jess and I last week, and we were talking. I think with Jess and I, we were talking about the kind of future of Chelsea and how maybe this takeover and everything sort of surrounding Chelsea's future could get better, could get worse, as an example. And you were sort of talking about how I don't know if you think it's going to get worse or not, but you kind of have this view that like you feel like they've been like the best run club for the past 20 odd years. I don't want to like put words in your mouth. What you're saying, but what are we saying about that? Like, how do you think it's going to go with these new owners?
Well, yeah, because I was commenting in the chat because some of the stuff I was hearing, I was just laughing, man. It's like no consistency from Chelsea. I was like, we're talking about consistency. 25 trophies in 25 years is consistent, right? Then it's there's no guarantee that they're going to be great. Well, they've proven under the last ownership that they have been. Yeah, then it was, but Chelsea are going to struggle now to compete with City and Liverpool. Why? We spend more than Liverpool. How are Liverpool competing with Man City? They spend less than most teams in the league. So, like this myth that Chelsea are just suddenly going to disappear, yeah, and they've had their 20 years of fun. Like, I find it hilarious. The reason there was over 100 people trying to buy the football club is for a reason, right? Yeah, they're a massive football club. They need some surgery. Let's not get it twisted, but don't that prove the point again that Thomas Tuchel has done a great job so far then? Yeah, because Kante is not the player he was. Ziyech has been a flop. Hudson-Odoi has not done anything. Yeah, they probably regret missing out on the 50 mil Bayern offered. Lukaku's been a flop. I think we're all a bit surprised by that one. Werner's been useless. Kai Havertz has not lived up to the hype so far. He's a bit of a purple patch player. Yeah, decent young player, but he ain't lived up to the price tag and he ain't lived up to the hype. But because he scored the Champions League winner, the price tag don't matter anymore. Yeah, because if it was Nicola Pepe doing the performance he's putting in every week and then scoring a Champions League final winner, it'd probably still be getting cussed. Yeah, but because Kai Havertz is only a kid, yeah, then they've had players out injured this season. Chilwell, big miss. Reece James, big miss. I rate Reece James highly. I think he's quality player. They've got a 36-year-old at centre-back. The goalkeeper's a very good goalkeeper. Jorginho's gone from Chelsea fans loving him off to Ballon d'Or winner and all this rubbish to actually get rid. Yeah, which I find funny. And then they've gone through this whole turmoil of being sanctioned and then thinking that the guy who's coming in is just going to suddenly milk it. On what planet do these people live in?
I look at it this way. So again, the new owners, you never quite know in the grand scheme of things how good people are going to be or not. So there is the chance that this goes wrong. But my point was more, the Roman era is over. And the more I think about it, I actually think this could be really good for Chelsea because Chelsea, I don't like using the word regressing, but their model under Roman didn't really change much in the nearly 20 years that he owned the club. And the level of the amount of trophies they were winning as the cities and the Liverpools have come to prominence with for me, a different way of running the club with more consistency in terms of approach, player style, manager style, club philosophy, they started to win less. And you can look at that in the sense of he took over in 2003. He won 17 major trophies. And in that, I include Europa League, EFL Cup, Carabao Cup, FA Cups, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. I'm taking out Super Cup and World Club Championship and Community Shields, the kind of I'm taking those out for a minute. 17 major trophies he won. 11 of those 17 were in the first 10 years of his ownership. 5 were in the last 9 years. So in the second half of Roman's ownership, he won less than 50% than what he won in the first. 4 of the 5 Premier Leagues were in that first 10-year period. Their Champions League, 3 FA Cups, 2 EFL Cups, and 1 Europa League. So the second half wasn't as successful. And I really put that down to the fact that look, they still run the club well. Still to win
It's still the most successful club in England in the last 15 years, Terry.
But you're moving the goalpost now. I'm looking at the two halves.
But you're moving the goalpost because you're saying in the last 10 years they've not been as successful as the previous 10. Why? Because Man City have come along.
No, so exactly. You need to let me finish my point so you can understand where I'm coming from. It is more competitive, but for different reasons because football evolves. So that second period that they've won. Listen, in the last 9 years, would I have loved my football club to have won a Premier League, an FA Cup, a Champions League, Europa League, and an EFL Cup? Absolutely. Of course I would have done. But Chelsea, spend as much as the other elite clubs? Should they be more in the mix? They haven't actually won a league title now for 5 years. And for me, that isn't good enough for Chelsea's standards. And I don't think their fans think it's good enough. Now, they're always going to love Roman for what he brought to their football club, and rightfully so. Again, this isn't about being polarized, about saying actually Roman wasn't a good owner. Roman didn't take the club in the right direction. They were doing the wrong things. But I think that what City and Liverpool have built as examples is it's an adaptation and it's evolving from what Roman did. Roman's kind of model was, we'll buy the best players possible and go after the best managers, put them together and keep very high standards where if you don't win league titles and you don't win Champions Leagues, we practically sack you. Now, that's a very big oversimplification, but that's how it kind of comes across. Like, I don't think Tuchel would survive this season if it looked like this under Roman was still there, being European champions and not challenging for the league this year and going out early in the Champions League. I think there's a possibility he would have got sacked by Roman. I think that's kind of true. What I think Chelsea now need to do, though, is look at what Liverpool and City have done and do their own version, where it's, okay, we're going to set a club style of football that we want to play. Now, we need to bring in the right manager, right directors of football, right board, right coaching staff to bring that all to life for us as a football club. But then you stay on that trajectory for a period of time. You go through a season where maybe you don't win a trophy. You know, theoretically, I know City look like they're going to do it. They could theoretically still end this season, City, with no trophy. Now, Roman in the past has sacked people for not doing that. City won't do that because they know they're in a good place. Carlo Ancelotti is a great example. Jose Mourinho, the first time round, another great example. When City were in their Chelsea were in their pomp under Roman. If they would have stuck with those managers for another year or two, given them what they want, continue to progress with that coach, I think they would have been even more successful. That's why I think these new owners could be very, very good, because football evolves all the time. We know this. And I think what you now need is more of a club plan than a manager plan, but the right manager and coach to bring that to life. And I think Thomas Tuchel is world class. And I think if they get behind this guy for the next 4 to 5 years, build for him, build for the style of football that they want to play, but then ensure that when it is time for Tuchel to leave, that the next manager comes in, can just literally pick the mantle up and move forward with a handful of new players in and players out without having to kind of undo everything that's been done before. Massive overhauls.
Yeah, Terry, you're waffling. You're waffling, mate.
I'm not waffling at all.
You are waffling because Tuchel came in after Lampard and signed 2 players he didn't want. He's been in 6 finals out of 7 and got top 4 twice.
But that's because he's a world-class manager. The point is...
Okay, but that's the point. They sack managers to get another world-class manager.
Lee. The point I'm making is this, though, is that I think they would be more successful if they keep Thomas Tuchel this summer, even though he's had... so far, not the greatest standard by Chelsea's level. Chelsea have not had a great season.
What are you talking about?
They haven't, but Chelsea haven't won anything
yet. They won the Champions League last season.
This is not.
They've won the Super Cup and the Club World Cup, and they're currently in the top 4 again. And they got to a Champions League quarter-final. They've been in a League Cup final, in an FA Cup final.
Lee, you know that's not good.
Oh my God!
Hang on, Lee. I'll tell you why that's not good enough. Do you want to know why I know that's not good enough? You said. Let me finish my point. You've said on umpteen shows on here. Elite level football is about winning the biggest trophies. If they don't win the biggest trophies, it's not a successful season, is it?
No, but they've won 2 trophies, Terry.
No, you talk about winning the big trophies, the Champions League and the Premier League.
Is the Super Cup and the Club World Cup not big trophies now then? Well, you have to win the big trophies to get into them tournaments, mate. What are you talking about?
There is not a single Chelsea fan who looks at this season and says, as an individual season is successful.
Rubbish.
No way. No Chelsea fans can be successful.
They completed the set of European trophies this season. So what are you talking about?
There's no way.
You are a troll.
No way. I'm not being a troll, but let me finish.
You are being a troll, Terry. The most successful club.
Lee. No, because you haven't let me finish my point.
And I'll mute myself. Go on, go.
My point is this: in the first 10 years of Roman Abramovich versus the second 9.5 to 10 years. He was more successful. The reason that the Cities and the Liverpools are starting to become more successful, especially City, is because I think there was more continuity at the football club in terms of overarching philosophy and the manager staying there, even when it hasn't quite worked at moments and at times. And this is why I think the new ownership, and this is the point you didn't let me get to, I think this could be very, very good for Chelsea and damaging for everybody else, because if they just harness what Roman started, a bit more continuity in management. You don't just sack them. Chelsea fans weren't really that happy with certain managerial sackings in the past with guys that had done very, very well. And Thomas Tuchel is a great example. I think he'd be facing the chop this season if Roman was still in charge, where that would be stupid because there are very few managers out there that are better than him. And sometimes you can undo the success. Now, they've still managed to win trophies because they have an amazing squad, they spend well, and they keep the difference between them and Man United and Arsenal is they keep the standards high. The difference is sometimes they've been, for me, a little bit too quick to act, and they've cut their nose off to spite their face, which has stopped them from getting further success. So for me, this is actually dangerous for rivals. The more I reflect on it, the more I look at it, the more I'm reading about it, I think to myself, this could be very, very dangerous for Arsenal, Man United and Tottenham if we get a third team that are structured well, run with more continuity, and don't just have these knee-jerk managerial reactions. Don't just, every now and then Roman would make out of a brain fart. Signing Shevchenko and the manager didn't want him. It looks like Lukaku is a bit of one of those signings as well. That's what they've got. Those little mistakes, for me, are the difference between why they've gone from winning 11 major trophies in 10 years to 5 in 9 years. And if they get that right, these new owners, Chelsea are going to be dangerous. So again, we agree that this isn't bad for Chelsea. I'm just saying that Roman was beginning to fail in comparative to the other major teams in Europe over the last 9 years. And again, you're laughing because you're comparing his failure to how shit your club and my club has been. I'm not comparing them to against Arsenal and Man United. They've been fantastic.
Terry, you're saying the last 9 years, yeah?
But compared to City, compared to Real Madrid, compared to...
Remind me how many Champions League City have won? 0.
I'm looking at... Okay, but listen, but you're looking at all these things here, right?
But I'm looking at statistics.
You're looking at body... You don't like statistics. I'm talking about the fact that if you look at the other...
The facts are the 3 most successful clubs in world football, Terry, yeah? No, let me finish, Terry, right? The 3 most successful clubs in world... I'm not wrong, because this is a fact. Yeah, fuck the stats. This is fact. The 3 most successful clubs domestically and globally in terms of European football, yeah, in the last 15, 16 years are Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Chelsea. Now add up how many managers they've had in the last 16 years. They've had 51 managers. That's more than 1 a season each. Yeah, and they're the most successful 3 clubs in Europe and domestically.
What are these 3 teams? What are these 3 teams?
Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Chelsea.
You've almost proved my point to a T, though.
However, you're saying you have to keep a manager for longer term.
No.
They've had more than 1 manager a season each.
You're taking you're taking one element of my point. Bayern Munich are the case in point in this to prove my point right. You can change your managers when it's right to, when that manager has lost the dressing room, when they're not quite getting it right. But they have a club philosophy and plan. The new manager that comes in to Bayern Munich doesn't have a new style of football, a new philosophy, a new way of managing, and needs 15 players out and 15 players in to get them back to being successful. There's more continuity. There's a comment that came through that said, Terry, Chelsea have a structure, focus on Man United. You did have a structure, and you had a structure that won you things. I'm suggesting...
Terry, please explain to me how Chelsea...
Sorry. Let me finish my point. I'm suggesting that if Chelsea Football Club adjust their structure and make it even better, they'll be even more successful. I don't understand why this is so hard to understand. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and by the way, Barcelona only went wrong when the people running their football club were up to a madness. When they were up to a madness, you run the club right, you keep the consistency, you keep the philosophy of the football element correct, and you will maintain that success. And Chelsea have been successful, but in comparative in the last 9 years, so those other 2 teams you mentioned, they're not even really challenged for a league title in 5 years. That ain't good enough. That's not good enough, is it?
Terry, they won the Champions League last season. What are you talking about? You're waffling, man.
No, I'm not waffling, but they haven't challenged for a league title in 5 years. That isn't good enough overall. Chelsea should be even better than...
Chelsea fans care that they ain't challenged for a title in 5 years, but they won the Champions League.
Yes, they do! Yes, they do!
No, they don't.
There's no way Chelsea fans are sitting there and going, it's okay that we haven't challenged for a Premier League title in 5 years because we won a Champions League.
In that 5 years, how many trophies they won?
I'm sorry, Lee.
How many trophies they won?
Lee, you sit there and talk about high standards for Arsenal. You're talking like Chelsea.
You can't get any higher than Champions League, Terry. What are you talking about?
You can get higher than the Champions League. Do you know how you get higher than the Champions League? Consistently challenging for your league title and winning the Champions League. That's Chelsea standard. That's where Arsenal, Man United, City, and Liverpool should all strive to be, where you're capable of winning Champions Leagues and league titles nearly every single year. That's standard.
Chelsea are the most successful club in this country in the last 20 years. What are you talking about?
But you're spreading that to the start, yes. But then you look at
but you're picking 9 years. In that 9 years, how many trophies Chelsea won?
Do you know why I use 9 years as the example?
Because it suits your narrative.
No, it's not. No, you're missing out the one key fact of why I use 9 years. You're missing out the one key fact. 9 years ago is when the new domestic and international TV money came in, which bridged the gap financially between everybody else and City and Chelsea, plus FFP, which stopped Chelsea and City from spending and their owners pumping in as much money as they wanted to. So from the summer of 2013, when all the money situation changed in football, Chelsea haven't been able to outspend their rivals as they did in the previous 10 years. My point being, in that 10 years where they could outspend everybody, 11 major trophies. In the years where the spending was more comparative, 5 major trophies in 9 years. They need to adjust their structure and adjust their philosophy.
Anything,
they do. They do.
They're one of 3 of the most
yeah, but not now they're not. Not now they're not. If they continue for the next 9
years, Champions League holders, mate.
Yes, they are, and they did brilliant. And they did brilliantly.
They're the current World Cup holders. They're the current Super Cup holders. They're in the Cup final. They've lost the Cup final.
They're doing very, very well. But they're
third in the table. They're in an FA Cup final. They've lost the League Cup final. They've won a Cup World Cup, a Super Cup, and the Champions League in the last 15 months. And lost an FA Cup in that time.
You're wrong. They need to challenge for their league title. They've won 5 major trophies in 9 years. And the point you're missing, the point you're missing is they're getting to these finals. They've got a very good squad, needs adding to it. And they've got one of the best managers in the world. You've missed another one of my key points. And even people in the comments have. In years gone, no, you have. Because in years gone by, what would happen in these circumstances when they have a bad season, if they don't win a major trophy and they don't challenge for a league title, managers would get sacked. You don't need to sack Thomas Tuchel. You need to give him more time because he's good enough. That's the point.
Okay. So wait. Relax a minute, yeah? Right? So the method of actually hiring and firing that's been working successfully, hence why they're one of the most successful clubs in the world in the last 2 decades, right? That method of sacking Ancelotti at half-time in the tunnel after he's won a title, yeah? Sacking other managers that have won trophies, sacking managers when they're in a title race, for example, yeah? Sacking managers that have won Champions Leagues, yeah? That method that's been working so great for them, for Real Madrid and for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich's slightly different because that's a 1 league team. Yeah. The rest of them are crap. Let's be real. Real Madrid is similar to Chelsea because there's more than one team there. Atleti are there, Barcelona are there. Slightly different this season, but in that time scale, it's been pretty much the same. Yeah. The Atleti have been fighting, they've been challenging, so have Barca. Yeah. So that method they're one of 3 of the most successful clubs in the world in that time scale. They've had between Real Madrid, Bayern, and Chelsea, them 3 clubs, 51 managers in 16 years. 16 times 3 is 48, Terry. That's 1 manager a year each. They've had more than 1 manager a year each, and they're the 3 most successful clubs in the world. Why do they need to change that? What? Because Liverpool are doing it with Klopp and Pep's doing it at City. Turn it in.
The thing is that what you're talking about, though, right? Is if you push back the time even further, Man United become one of the most successful teams in that time period as well. But we've gone backwards in this point. You have to look at the trajectory and the direction that a club is going in.
Why did Arsenal and Man United go backwards? At very similar times, by the way. Why?
Because we didn't. I'll tell you why we went backwards. And I'll look at Man United.
Managers in a job too long.
No. Man United have gone backwards since the summer of 2013 because we've tried each time to instill a manager to run the club in Fergie's image. Not the way Fergie did it, but the manager is in control. We haven't adapted to the modern day demands of the game where there is a club philosophy first, club style of play. We need a certain type of player where the under 5 girls and boys teams play the same style as football as the men and women's first teams. There isn't continuity across the football club, meaning every time we buy a bunch of players, loan out a bunch of players, and then sack those managers and go into a new philosophy, you end up with this concoction and mixture of styles and philosophies and player types and profile of players that don't work together. Chelsea Football Club have done a better job than Man United, a better job than Arsenal. But if you look at the trajectory of trophies being won over the last 20 years, the level of trophies being won is going down. Yes, they're still successful compared to Arsenal and Man United. But as a lot of Chelsea fans in the comments have said, it's disgraceful we haven't challenged for a league title in 5 years. I'm talking about an adaptation of what they do, not completely over.
The reason both of Arsenal and Man United have fallen way off the boil is because we had 2 managers that are the longest 2 serving managers in this era, in this league. Yeah. And that has brought in a load of fans that are only there because we were winning, right? We were winning. Yeah, which is cool. That's standard for any football club. You support most people, unless it's pushed down generation after generation, like, you're going to support the team that's winning, right? That's a fact. Yeah, you're going to go, oh, they're winning, I'll pick them, right? So hang on. The reason our clubs have gone way off the boil is because of them two managers. This is their legacy later. Listen, Fergie is the best manager I've ever seen.
It's not the managers.
No, but it is, right? And I'll tell you why, right? It is because Arsene Wenger's brought in this full fizzer trophy crap. So now everyone thinks top four is a miracle. Yeah, top four. Yeah, top four. Alec Ferguson, it's no coincidence that Arsenal and Man United fans online sound very similar. Oh, yeah, but it's the Glazers. Oh, it's the Cronkies. Oh, it's the Glazers. Oh, it's the Cronkies. How about it's you lot? Yeah, because you're accepted. Look at the way your fans went on when you signed Ronaldo, all suing around car parks. Big up Said. Yeah, I love Said, by the way. Big up Said. Yeah, all jumping for joy at Sancho and Varane. Yeah. Now it's actually, let's just write the season off because we've got Ten Hag. Okay, cool. Fantastic. But now, do you think Ten Hag's now going to come in? Yeah, and these fans are going to suddenly sit there and cuss off. And if he said that he wants to go and sign, I don't know, let's say, for example, let's say he wants to go and sign Hector Bellerin, just as an example, yeah? Your fans are going to G that up as the biggest sign in the history of the club because that's how your fans online are going to go on. If we actually bring Hector Bellerin back and say, actually, we're going to get rid of Cedric, Tommy and Bellerin can rotate, our fans address it up as it's the best thing since sliced bread. That is the difference, mate, because Chelsea will say, piss off Aspilicueta, you've been great for 10 years, but now you're dusted, see ya. Kante, see ya. All of these other players see you. That is down to the fans. And this is what I was saying about the drink earlier. The drink's this price now. Next time it's this price. Then it's this price. But if you keep lapping it up as a fan base, the club will get lower and lower down because they will take the piss. And Man United and Arsenal are prime examples of that. Manchester City are doing it slightly different with Pep than Chelsea are doing it. Chelsea's method is not wrong, by the way, because Chelsea are the most successful English club in the last 2 decades. Ain't even a debate.
But this is the thing with what you've said. There's two things. One, you're right on. Chelsea fans don't accept the mediocrity, which is why many Chelsea fans in the comments section are saying Terry's right. Not challenging for a league title in 5 years is absolutely disgraceful and unacceptable. The point you're forgetting with being the most successful in the last 20 years is you are negating trajectory. You are negating the direction, the level of trophies that they're winning now. Because the trajectory, although they've won a Champions League and they've got to these finals, if they behaved how they did many times under Roman and sacked Tuchel too early and end up with a worse manager, they wouldn't be getting to these finals. And this is the adaptation and the slight change they need.
How many times have they sacked a manager and flopped?
I'll have to go back and look at it. But if you look at it this way, you look at it this way. They sacked Ancelotti in 2000 after the 2010 season. They didn't win a league title for nearly 5 more years. I think that was wrong. You know, they got rid of Jose Mourinho.
Why did they win in that time?
So, but they've done it a few times here. So let me give you an example.
The last time they had a manager that did 3 seasons was Jose 04 to 07. I think that's all right, Terry.
I'm talking about winning league titles and winning the major honours, which is what you say is what elite level sport is about.
Is the Champions League not a major honour?
It is. So they won.
There you go then. So your point's fraud.
No, it isn't fraud because you're ignoring.
They sacked Lampard to go and get a proper manager. They can sack Tuchel and go and get a proper manager.
I'm sorry, Lee. But you're missing the fucking point, brother. If they stuck with Ancelotti and gave him that little bit more time and didn't rush him on, my belief is I think they would have won a Champions League. This man's could win his 4th, right? He's elite. You're talking 12 years ago when he was still in his pomp, right? If they'd have stuck with him, I think they win more. This is where you're not getting the point.
But it's all subjective, isn't it? It's all ifs, buts, and maybes. The fact is,
hang on a minute, Lee. Lee.
This show's called Straight Facts, not.
It is straight facts.
But straight facts. Facts are they're the most successful club in the last 2 decades.
That doesn't matter. That is irrelevant. You're missing the point.
It's a fact.
No, but that is irrelevant to the point. Right? It's irrelevant to the point. So, are you going to concede the fact then that in the last decade, in the last 6 years, the level of trophies they've won comparatively to the previous 15 years is reduced? Yes or no?
Obviously, because it's a fact.
Does that need to be addressed?
Well, no, not really, because they're still winning.
So if they're not. So if they're not challenging for league titles anymore, if they've won one FA Cup in the last decade, okay, they won a Champions League. That's great. But if their trajectory is going down, do they not need to make a change at the football club?
When you say their trajectory is going down, Terry, it's going down in terms of the high standards they set across the world and Europe and domestically. Why would
Chelsea fans not want that high standard still? Why should they not set the standard up here and make changes to get back?
Why do you think fans want Tuchel out?
What fans want Tuchel out? Idiots. Idiots
so
want
they're
him out.
idiots now for wanting the standards to go back up. You're contradicting yourself.
They want two, but they're idiots wanting two. No, I'm not contradicting myself. You're trying to twist it.
No, I'm not. I'm using. You just said you want to keep the standards high. Okay, so why do you think Chelsea wants to out? No, they're idiots for wanting to keep the standards high. Make your mind up.
No, I haven't made my mind up. My mind's already set. I don't need to change my mind. I'm absolutely spot on. They need to address how they run the club to match what the other elite teams are doing with more continuity to get back to those standards.
Let me finish. Lee,
I need to finish my point because you interject and then you don't hear. In that first 10 years, how they run things can't work now and yield the same level and consistency of results because the money element has changed. They've got to adapt. Where the adaptation, it is to do with money. When you could outspend everybody else, it was easier to go and buy all the best players and bring in the best managers. Now, everybody can compete with you. The squads are more comparable. There's a reason that since the summer of 2013, they've won less trophies per season, less major trophies per season than in the first 10 years because everybody caught them up financially. So what you have to do to maintain those early levels and standards, compete more regularly for the league, is make changes. And the changes for me need to come at a consistency level where the philosophy is looked at and sticking with your world-class managers even when they have a bad season. That's all they've got to change. And I think these new owners can do it. I think it's absolutely wrong. They can't act like Roman did in those first 5, 6, 7 years. It will not work now. It will. And do you know how I know it won't work now in terms of consistency of competing? It's because it hasn't for the last 9 years. Simple as that for me. And I'm
Tell
talking
me what
about
they've won in the last 9 years, Terry.
But you're missing the point again, Lee.
No, you said it hasn't worked. Tell me what they've won in the last 9 years. Now tell me how many managers in that time.
What's that got to do with anything?
No, because you're saying it hasn't worked in the last 9 years. So how many managers have they had? You're the stats guy. You've got it all on the computer in front of you.
I don't need to answer that question.
No, you're not letting me finish now.
Lee, because I don't need to answer that question because my point is...
No, you do, because you're saying it's not worked in the last 9 years. So in the last 9 years, please tell me how many managers they've had and what they have won.
I haven't said it hasn't worked. I've said they haven't... No, I said it hasn't worked. I said it hasn't worked as much as the first 10 years.
No, you just said it hasn't worked in the last 9 years. Your words.
Okay, so let me readdress that then. Hasn't worked at the same level of success, but you know my overarching point remains the same.
You're honest today.
So what do you think so answer me one question. Why did they win 11 major trophies in the first 10 years and only 5 in the last 9 years? Why is it halved? The level of success has halved since the money change came in, and you don't think they should make any adjustments to try and get back to trying to win another 11 in 10 years? Chelsea fans would rather win 11 in 10 years than 5 in 9 years, right? Would you?
Well, you just closed yourself. Because you just said now money's come into the game for everybody. It's a lot harder to win the major trophies now. So don't you think that they've done all right in that time then?
They've done okay, but my point is...
Yeah, because they were ahead of the curve with the money in the first place, yeah?
Hang on. But because... You're missing the point. But because of the way...
Making a point.
I have made a point. Because of the way the cities, as an example, have been more consistent with their managerial and philosophy approach. So there's a more consistent winning. In this era, where the money's more equal, they're winning and challenging more. The only thing City haven't won has been the Champions League. But look how regularly they've competed for titles. Look how strong they've been in the cup competitions. And the only thing they've got left to do now is win that Champions League. And you've got to think they're still in their first
10, 11... major honours, Terry. Major honours. You're not counting FA Cup or League Cup, no?
No. I counted them in the overall.
You counted them for City, but not for Chelsea. Then
no, I did because I said 11 in 10 years. That includes their FA Cup and their League Cups and the Europa Leagues. I kept them all
in the last 9 years. What have Man City won trophy-wise? Tell me.
Oh, I'd have to go and look. Off the top of my head, I don't know. So it's in the last 9 years. Let me just go and check.
Major trophies, Terry. Yeah, because you like major trophies. Yeah.
So City. So in the last 9 years, Chelsea have won 2. Okay, so Man City in the last 9 years, major trophies have won 1, 2, 3, 4 major trophies. They won double the amount of major trophies, the league titles. They're going to win another league title this year, so it'll be 5 as an example. If you throw in the FA Cups and all the other trophies with it as well, it's going to be 4, 5. Hang on. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So City in that time have won 12 compared to 5.
In the 5 League Cups that are not major, yeah?
But I said major was 4.
Not a major trophy, is it? You said
whoa. Major, I said 4, which is double that of City.
So Chelsea. They've won 4 trophies in 9 years, Man City, that are major trophies.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chelsea have won 2.
And it's going to be 5. It's going to be 5, including the league this year. So it'll be 5.
As it stands, it's 4.
Okay, so it's double.
Well, it might not be. Liverpool might still win the league, yeah?
Okay, even if they don't, it's going to be double. 2 versus 4 is double.
Okay, so 2 versus 4.
Double.
So Why do Chelsea need to change them? Because Man City financially have outspent them
Cash
in that
City.
time.
No, they haven't. They barely outspent them. It'll be about the same. It'll be about the same.
Bring the stats
It'll be
up then.
about
Come
the
on.
same.
Let's
I
see
don't.
the
I'm
stats.
not bringing the stat.
Come on, let's see the stats. How much money have Chelsea spent compared to Man City in the last 9 years?
Oh, let's go and do it then. Let's do it while we're live.
Come on. You're so rattled. It's mad.
I'm not rattled. It's mad to me. What I find mad is a comment here, and I will be fair with all these comments. So a blue fan here says, "Sorry, Terry, you're wrong. In the last 5 years, you won the Europa League, Champions League, Super Cup, World Club Championship, something PSG and City have failed to do. 15 years and spending billions. Give me that over winning the league." And that's fair to you if you believe in that. But I believe a lot of Chelsea fans want to compete for that league title in that regard.
Of course they do. But at the end of the day, I'm quite sure a booby prize of a Champions League ain't too bad, Terry. Yeah, or an FA Cup or a Super Cup or a Club World Cup. It completes the set. Yeah, come on. Let's see how much they've spent. How much?
I do get that. Hang on, I've got literally, there's no actual stat for this. You've got to sit there and manually add the damn thing up. So let me just scroll back for a moment and do this, and we'll do it live. Since the summer of 2013. So I'm going to do Chelsea first. I'm going to have to add this up manually as we do this, right? I reckon it'll be very similar. So 98 plus 117. Plus 123 for Chelsea. This is Chelsea's, by the way. Plus 86. Plus 119. Plus 230. Fucking hell, 234 million in summer of 2017. Jesus. Plus.
Yeah, and then they sacked the manager because he was shit.
Plus that. Plus. Why don't they spend 40 that year? Oh, yeah, the transfer ban. Plus 222 million. Plus 106 million pounds this year. So let me just write that number down. I don't know what it's going to come out as, by the way, because I haven't done this. 1.33. Now let's go and do Manchester City in that time period. And I always remember reading one stat that in the first 3 years of Pep, I think City, I know for a fact that City were outspent by Chelsea. But let's have a little look here. Let's scroll down and work theirs out. It won't take too long. We'll get this done. Sorry. So from the summer of 2013. So, no, sorry, I put in 7. I don't want to put that number in. 107 plus 92 plus 185 plus 175 plus 285 plus 70 plus 134 143, sorry, plus 155.
That's the likes of why everyone's here, by the way. Big up to everyone watching.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're doing live maths. So this is the maddest thing. So Man City, since the summer of 2013, have spent 1.32 billion. Chelsea have spent 1.33 billion. So it's practically the same.
Jeez.
So they've spent. My point is, if they've spent exactly the same amount of money, and I think everything that Chelsea have achieved in that time is brilliant.
How many managers they had in that time each?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Come on, Terry. You got to put it all together. How many signings? How many managers? Come on.
In a minute. City of course, had Mancini, Pellegrini, and Pep have had 3. City, yeah. Chelsea in that time, Jesus Christ, are going to have had Jose Mourinho. They're going to have Conte. They're going to have Sarri, Lampard. No, Ancelotti wasn't here in 2013. He was already gone.
No, so you're right. No, sorry, that was before.
Yeah. So it would have been Jose, Conte, Sarri, Lampard, Thomas Tuchel. So they've had 5. So as I say, they've spent about the same amount of money. So my point is this. So let me go back to my original point. Chelsea are a brilliantly run football club under Roman Abramovich, but I think in the era where they don't dominate financially across domestically in Europe, there needs to be these adaptations. And I've always said this about Chelsea. This isn't like a new thing for me. That the first Jose era, Antonio Conte and Carlo Ancelotti, those 3 are standout examples to me where if they would have given those managers what they wanted, kept the continuity of what those guys had started, I believe they would have won easily 3 or 4 more league titles. And I still believe they'd have won at least these 2 Champions Leagues, if not more domestic success when it comes to the smaller trophies as well. And that's what I believe these new owners could bring to Chelsea, which was my overarching point from the beginning, that as great as Roman was, as football has changed in these last 9 years and people have more money, I think a continuity plan is needed in the way that the Bayerns, Barca, by the way, before the man were doing up fraud, that's what the level I think they need to go to. Let's do some of these super chats. I don't want to miss them. Chelsea also sell a lot of players. That allows a lot of buying. That last transfer market was basically a wash. They do sell, but when looking at the numbers, people do actually underappreciate how much City sell, right? I'll give you an example. This season alone, City sold 84 million. Last season, 70 million. Season before that, 65 million, 51, 82, 31, 60, 72, 10. And then so literally City there, you can see are doing between 10 and like 70, 80 million themselves in sales. Like people, I always feel a bit sorry for City that people don't, their net spend's always high, but they do often most seasons. It's like 50, 60 million pounds on average. Let's do a few more of these comments here. Yeah, but Lee, I'm a Liverpool fan, and even Stevie Wonder can see that it's the Glazers, all them players you named are quality and have done what 0 and why is what Terry Tibbs has got to say. Thank you, Terry Tibbs. We could use Lee on our side, is what a man like Todd said. Best run club in the last 20 years, 900k a week covered by Roman. Yeah, he did. He stopped them from losing that money. There's no doubt.
Well, big up to him. Best run club then, isn't it?
Well, no, I think
he saved the club then, isn't it?
Brilliant owner. Lee, you've witnessed 4 Arsenal wins.
5
Arsenal league title wins in 40 years. Stop acting like Arsenal was winning the league titles all the time when you were a child. Behave.
Well, right, DT, calm down. You know what I mean?
How do you get that phone in there? How'd you get that phone in there, son?
Mate, you don't even want to know.
Yeah, I know how to get them phones in there, bruv. Man made his brother squat. I admit I was wrong about Burnley sacking Sean Dyche. Arteta is just not good enough. Our fan base will cry Arteta out before Christmas. Ollie 2.0. Olu here says, would Lee have wanted Conte when he was... Oh, sorry, read that one. Sorry. I didn't unstar it earlier on. There we go. But good chat, bruv. I enjoyed that. It was a good debate. Lamin here says, every season Chelsea failed to compete for the league is a failure. The Champions League was a welcome surprise, but ultimately papered over cracks need continuity. Lamin's a Chelsea fan there. And I think...
over the cracks of what? You've been in 6 finals out of the last 7. The only final you've not got to under Conte is the Champions League final this season.
I mean Tuchel.
Oh, sorry, Tuchel.
Yeah, but you you don't see it this way, but I see you as proving my point. Because you need to stick with Tuchel. Because it's because of Tuchel, isn't it?
Terry, would they have got to these finals with Frank Lampard?
No.
Okay, so Frank Lampard had them in 9th.
Yes.
He takes them from 9th to 4th.
Yes.
Yeah. Then he gets them the Champions League win, loses the FA Cup.
Yeah.
He then gets them a Club World Cup, a Super Cup. He's now lost the League Cup final. Yeah. And he's in the FA Cup final.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, what's it matter about the league then? He's still winning major honours and getting to major finals. He's competing. Yes, he's not competing for the league right now, but do you expect this guy to compete for the league inside 15 months?
Not necessarily.
Having signed 2 players that were not his players.
So so there's a few things you've said there. Firstly, signing him players that are not his players is something that Chelsea, that's one of the adaptations they've got to get away from. So thank you for confirming that.
He's still winning whilst not competing with players that are his.
And that also proved my point. Lampard wasn't able to get this team winning, right?
No, because he was crap.
So they brought a manager in that was good enough, yes?
Yeah, which is what Chelsea do. They sack one that weren't good enough at the time and get a better one.
And Tuchel's world class, right?
Yeah.
So when he has a bad season,
instead of going get someone else, freshen it up.
No, see that's where I disagree. See what you
Real
do.
Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, most 3 successful clubs in Europe in the last 16 years. 51 managers, mate.
They don't sack a manager just for having a poor season if that manager is still capable of getting them back to the top.
Top teams sack a manager for winning the title and not competing in Europe.
Exactly.
Top teams sack a manager for not winning in Europe or winning in Europe and not competing for a title.
If they lose the dressing room, if they feel like that manager's gone as far as they can, they move them on. My point is this. I don't think Jose Mourinho, first time round, Ancelotti when he was there, Conte when he was there, and Tuchel right now, I use those 4. I don't think any of them were beyond winning more for Chelsea when they were sacked, and Tuchel obviously isn't being sacked, but I think his job may be on the line if it was around. I'm talking about subtle adaptations as to why, to agree with your original point, that these new owners could be brilliant for Chelsea in this new era where money is more equal. But people, look, we want you back in the comments when this re-uploads. We want to know what you think about today's show. Make sure you're smashing like buttons before you leave. Always a pleasure, Lee, to duel with you. It's always a lot of fun. I know a lot of people in the comments will be like, oh, you guys are fighting. We're not fighting. We get on. It's all good.
No, this is just it's how we talk on voice messages or text or whatever.
Well, we were saying earlier that, like, if we don't do a show one week, we get messages. Oh, have you two fallen out? Is there a beef? What's going on? But there we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, a massive
I'm live in 3 minutes, by the way, so make sure you come and check me and Rants out
on your channel. Yeah.
Yep.
Go check that out, people. Until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you all.